Hey again everyone, and welcome back to the channel for the next installment in our ongoing new figure showcase series, where we take a look at one of the newest additions into the collection. Now for today's installment, we're going to jump back into the world of Harry Potter and take a look at the 6th scale figure of Hermione Granger based on her appearance in the original Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Now, this will actually bring to a close the first 3 figures and the original trio of kids from those classic movies. I do know that they're filming the new series for HBO Max right now, which is supposed to be 7 years, a season per year that they're in school. So I'm looking forward to seeing that, but to me there's just something nostalgic about having kind of these original casts and the original portrayal of the characters from the books, right? So Inart is continuing on with the line, right? They've also released the Snape for pre-order, although he is going to be the version from Half-Blood Prince, and they have released Draco Malfoy, which is great to have kind of a little bit of that not the bad guy, but some of the villains in the story as well. Although Draco has one of those stories too that's not quite villainous, but great that Inart is actually continuing on with the line. And they have teased Dumbledore based on the original appearance as well. So hopefully this means that they're gearing up to continue on with the line. They haven't teased anything beyond that, but it would be great to get some of the other characters, including, listen, it's a rich world, so there are a ton of great characters. Sirius Black, Remus Lupin, obviously Voldemort himself, and the fact that they're jumping into Half-Blood Prince gives me the indication for now that they do have at least access to all of the movies. So it'll be great to see what they do with this, because it does look like Harry Potter has become one of those IPs that they are definitely going fully in with. Now, as far as all the accessories, you can see them laid out here. This is a fully rooted sculpt. I don't believe that they had any other non-rooted versions available for Hermione, which kind of makes sense, I guess, given that she does have the long disheveled hair. But this was the only way to get this figure, so usually they had either one or the other with a slight less deluxe version. But as normal, let's jump into the accessories, and we're going to start with the hands. These are really well done. You've got a set of gloved hands, and then you've got the bare hands. The great thing here is, besides the detail work and the great paint applications, right, Inart has really created or recreated some of those hand gestures that Hermione has from that first movie. So there's a lot of credit that I have to give the company for really replicating that and giving you the ability to do so when you're posing the figure. Next, you get Crookshanks, right, Hermione's cat. In the movies, not a huge presence, although there are some moments where Crookshanks is trying to eat Scabbers. So if you know the lore for the movies, the series would probably be a lot shorter if that had been allowed to happen. But look, the detail work here also great. The detail on the fur, the eyes, they actually did a really good job here as well. And I think it probably benefits that it is a slightly larger animal. Now, as they are school kids, and as this is Hermione, and we know Hermione loves reading, Inart gave us a bunch of books here. Some of these we've seen before, and some of them are new books that we haven't had before. The ones that we've gotten before are pretty much the standard textbooks. They still have that impressively done layering of pages where each page actually has kind of individual writing. Now, on the other hand, the newer books that we're getting here don't have that same writing. They are just blank pages. So listen, it's fine. I don't think that that's going to make or break anything, but just, you know, it shows a slight change in kind of the direction here. Then you also get her bag. She uses this, if memory serves, now and then in the movie. It's very straightforward, very simple, but well done. It does feel like a real leather, so I don't think this is going to be subject to deterioration, but it serves its purpose. Next up, as again is suitable for Hermione, you do get the quill and the ink bottle, or the ink kit holder. You can definitely stand the quill within that bottle. Very simple pieces, right? The bottle itself is just a very glossy black container. The feather is very impressively done, though. I have to admit that the detail work that was accomplished here, creating that faux real look, pretty nice. And then of course you get her wand, right, which each one of them has had a very distinctive looking wand. You know all about the wand selection ceremony, so that makes sense. And then you get the feather that she uses in the charms classroom. So again, another nice touch. Whether you're going to use it or not, it's up to you, but it's really nicely portrayed here. And you get the sorting hat. This is one thing I don't get. It's now the third version of the sorting hat we've gotten, and not really version, it's just the third sorting hat we've gotten overall. Same as the other ones. It would have been nice if we at least had a slightly different expression. I don't know why they chose to give it to all three versions of all three figures, but maybe Inart felt that there was an opportunity there for people who didn't pick one or the other to still get the sorting hat. So it is what it is. Now, again, this was the only way you could get this figure, right? It was basically the deluxe. The other versions, Ron and Harry, also had a non-deluxe version that didn't include this diorama piece. But to me, this makes these figures. So it's basically another piece of the Gryffindor common room wall, right? This one has that, again, that distinctive wallpaper that's just, right now it's just a glued on applique, but it has that texture and it creates that look overall. And it does have this portrait as well that does have that kind of movement recreation here. So overall, these are nice, and they do give you just that little extra that I think these figures benefit from, and I'm looking forward to actually lining all of them together to see how that looks. Now, you do get the bookcase here. It is a pretty substantial piece of furniture, so it does add to the packaging. Very nicely done. It is plastic, but it's painted in a nice way where it does create that feel of wood that you have. Fully functional as well. The doors at the top and the bottom do open, revealing shelves, so there's lots of display options here to either put textbooks or some of the other extra items. And again, once you line this up with some of the other displays, you can use some of those added accessories that the other figures came in and really create something that feels like it just comes together. Now let's jump into the figure, and we'll start off with the sculpt. First thing I have to say is I think the sculpt is pretty spot on. I think Inart did a great job, from paint application here to just the lifelike nature of the eyes, right? I tell you all the time, and this is probably going to be me sounding like a broken record, but when these figures come to life is really when these companies are able to knock the eyes out. And what I mean by that is that they look realistic. They're not just a doll eye that's painted on, which is what we got earlier on in the 6-scale world. But they did a great job here. Hair looks great as well. I do have to admit that I am starting to kind of develop a little bit of a love-hate relationship with this rooted hair thing we're on. I do have a couple of artisan figures coming that I'll review, and I'll go a little bit more in depth there. Problem being, when you're trying to actually put the sculpt onto the body, or if you're trying to move the eyes around, right, as these figures are able to, you do have to hold on. Unless you hold the chin or the front of the body, you do have to touch the hair. And with repeated kind of handling for the hair, it starts getting messy. On a figure like Hermione, I don't think it's critical because it's supposed to be messy, but overall it's definitely something that's becoming a little bit of a concern, especially with figures that have a more clean look to them overall. Now, as far as the figure look, just like with the Harry and the Ron, the work on the tailoring, right, the cloak with the Gryffindor crest on it, pretty amazing. Same thing with the underlying uniform, which they do away with a little bit as they go later on in the movies, but I think it's a great recreation here, down to the shoes that even had that little tag, right, the red tag. So a lot of attention to detail here. Very impressive from a figure point of view. From a posability perspective, also great, right? These are kids, right? So, and they're students. So again, right, when you think action poses, it's not like we're going to get some superhero poses or some military figure poses. But with the wands, with the books, you can get them kind of just in a decent kind of like action dynamic look to them overall. Although it's hard when you consider, like, do you really want to have them that dynamically posed when you can get away with just having the figure, in this case holding books or standing next to an open book case, and still get the desired effect of having a figure and a piece overall that looks pretty astonishing. So look, Inart's continuing strong with this line. I'm all in at this point. I can't wait to get Snape, can't wait to get Dumbledore. I think if that figure, Dumbledore has a lot more complexity to it, and I think just visually it's going to be appealing. So hopefully they knock that one out of the park. But it's another great job by Inart, another great figure. Just wish the price weren't as expensive as it is, but look, it is what it is. So just my 2 cents. Let me know your thoughts on it. As far as I'm concerned, I think this is a great job that Inart did here, and a great kind of conclusion to that original trio of figures. So we'll touch base on the next video.